When you think about a massive construction project, your mind probably goes to uh, the heavy machinery, the steel beams, the really complex
The
stuff.
glamorous parts.
Exactly. But today, we're skipping all that. We're diving straight into the admin office. Our sources this week look, well, frankly, they look a little dry. It's a really rigorous administrative checklist for an electromechanical project.
All rules.
It's just rules, procedures, and paperwork, paperwork, paperwork.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole point, isn't it?
Hmm.
The documents themselves, they might seem tedious, but what they represent is the absolute organizational spine of that entire project.
Okay.
We're not here to just read the checklist. We're here to understand why this procedural stuff is so non-negotiable. For a major installation like this framework is the difference between success and catastrophic failure.
Both legally and physically, I'd imagine?
Both.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So our mission for this deep dive is to pull out the strategic knowledge here. You might never have to fill out one of these forms, but you need to understand that the quality, the safety of the final product, it all hinges on this administrative rigor.
It's the shortcut to understanding why these high-stakes projects live and die by their paper trail.
We need to find the critical nuggets that keep the whole thing running. So where do we start?
Let's start at the foundation. So when you establish standards for a project, the administrative control doesn't begin with materials or tools. It starts with the people.
The human element.
The human element. The sources are really clear that before anyone can even, turn a wrench, they have to go through mandatory training.
Okay, that makes sense for safety, obviously. But why is it listed as a foundational administrative control?
Right, that's a great question. It's because the training establishes the baseline for everything that comes after. It's the formalization of competence. The project administration needs an auditable guarantee proof that every single worker understands the safety protocols, the quality standards, and, this is key, the documentation procedures themselves.
So if a worker hasn't done the training.
Administratively, they're non-compliant.
Yeah.
Any work they do introduces immediate, completely unacceptable liability.
So the admin framework isn't just checking a box on knowledge. It's really checking a box on legal eligibility to even do the work.
You've got it.
So if there's an accident years later, the investigation is going to start right there with those training records.
Precisely. That training ledger is the first administrative layer of defense. It says, we prepared our team to meet the standard. If those records are incomplete or worse, missing,
Big trouble.
the project is immediately exposed to huge contractual penalties,
Right.
regulatory scrutiny. It doesn't matter how good the physical work was. The administration is basically creating a competence shield around the project before a single shovel hits the dirt.
That reframes it completely. It's not just a training session. Okay, so if the training sets the standard for who can do the work, what's the mechanism that captures the evidence that the standards were actually met during the construction itself?
And that's the immediate next step, the pivot to documentation. Once the team is prepared, the source material just focuses intensely on the need to generate this massive, continuous administrative record.
A paper
A
tray.
huge paper trail. And it serves this critical dual function. On one hand, yes, it's for day-to-day site communication, but its real strategic purpose is ensuring what the sources call compliances with record.
Okay, let's pause right there. Compliances with record. That phrase, it sounds like some kind of official jargon, but it's clearly the heart of this. What does that actually mean? Is it just proof of work?
Oh, it's way more rigorous than just, proof of work.
Yeah.
Compliances with record is a specific term. It means you don't just meet the technical standard. You have to actively generate an auditable, time-stamped, unchangeable record that proves the standard was met right at that moment of execution.
For who? Regulator.
For external regulatory bodies, for insurance underwriters, for contractual milestones, all of them.
So let me get this straight. If the spec says a bolt has to be torqued to, 50 foot-pounds, it's not enough to just do it.
Not nearly enough.
You have to have a form signed by a supervisor on that specific date stating it was measured and verified.
Exactly. The documentation is what transforms the physical act into a legally certified milestone. Without that recorded compliance, the physical work is, from a regulatory perspective, completely unverified.
And potentially non-compliant.
Potentially non-compliant. The documentation is basically the project's regulatory passport. If there was ever an audit or a catastrophic failure, that documentation is the black box investigators go for first.
Wow. That raises the stakes for every single administrative task. It means the person just reviewing and signing a form has as much immediate liability as the person actually, doing the installation.
It is not just bureaucracy. It's a legal shield and a regulatory requirement all
Yeah.
wrapped up in a single form. And that's why these sources demand such rigor. They're building an administrative infrastructure that ensures full traceability. They are planning for the audit or the lawsuit. That might not even happen for another 10 years.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. The sources get really specific. They call out two mandatory procedural documents. The first one is the walk-down report.
Right. The walkdown report is a core administrative tool. It's what formally links the project design, the blueprints, to the physical reality on the ground.
A walk-down is an inspection,
It's
right?
a scheduled inspection, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually when a major phase is completed and the team goes through and verifies the installation against all the requirements.
And what does this report achieve administratively? I'm guessing it's more than just a quick look.
Oh, so much more. The report is a mandatory document, needs multiple signatures, and it records three critical things. One, what was inspected, and it has to cite the specific blueprints and specs. Two, it records any deficiencies they found, any issues that have to be corrected before they can move on. And three, and this is crucial, it records the resolution of those deficiencies,
With signatures.
often requiring the signature of the lead engineer and maybe even the client's representative. It closes the loop.
So it's more than just a sign-off. It's like a running history of compliance. It proves that flaws were found, that specific actions were taken to fix them, and that it was all verified.
It creates an audit trail that's just invaluable. Imagine a component fails 3 years down the line because of corrosion or something.
Right.
The technical investigation starts? Sure. But the administrative investigation will immediately pull the walkdown report for that component. If that report is missing, or it notes a deficiency that was never signed off as resolved.
The liability shifts instantly.
Instantly, from the equipment manufacturer to the project group for administrative failure, the absence of that report is basically proof of noncompliance.
That's incredible. That makes the integrity of that one document just paramount. It's an insurance policy written in ink.
Absolutely. It ensures accountability, provides traceability, and it's the administrative key you need to unlock the next phase of the project.
Okay, what about the second one they mentioned? The MOM, or minutes of meeting. Now, this sounds deceptively simple. I mean, in a lot of businesses, minutes are just a casual recap.
And that's the critical distinction. In this kind of high-stakes environment, the MOM is the project's intellectual memory. It's mandatory because meetings are where the high-impact decisions get made.
Deviations, budget changes.
Resource allocation, risk management. If a decision is made in a meeting that impacts the project's scope or standards like, say, agreeing to use a substitute part because of a supply issue, that decision has to be captured in a standardized, circulated document.
I can see a problem here, though. You need to capture the critical decisions, but doesn't documenting every single conversation risk, burying the important stuff under mountains of detail?
That is the challenge of administrative rigor, right? The source material is clear that the MOM has to focus on actionable decisions, specific resource commitments, and any deviations from the plan. The requirement isn't just note-taking.
It's formalizing the command structure.
It's formalizing the command structure. When a decision is captured in a formal MOM, everyone who was there, and by extension, the whole team, is administratively bound by it.
It's the mechanism that prevents the whole "I thought you were doing that" problem.
Or, we never agreed to that change. It locks the workflow into a time-stamped contract. Without a solid MOM, if there's an expensive delay because two teams had contradictory advice, there is no administrative record to assign accountability.
Or more importantly, to fix the process for the future.
Exactly. The MOM provides the evidence of intentional decision-making, which is crucial for defending how the project was executed.
So if I'm understanding this, the walkdown report provides the physical compliance history, and the MOM provides the procedural and intellectual history. It captures the decision-making path.
That's a perfect synthesis. These two documents, they highlight the dual need for this rigor. You're checking the quality of the executed work with the walkdown report, and you're checking the integrity of the planning process with the MOM.
So if we pull back for a second, what's the big takeaway here for you listening? The central point from this material seems to be that success on these big projects isn't just defined by technical skill. It's defined by a profound, non-negotiable adherence to these administrative checklists.
The paperwork is the strategic asset. Look, The difference between a project that gets certified, gets its final payment, operates safely for decades, and one that gets paralyzed by lawsuits or regulatory holes. That difference often comes down entirely to the existence and quality of these records.
It's the infrastructure.
The documents create the administrative infrastructure that turns a plan into a compliant, defensible, physical reality.
It's fascinating because it kind of flips the priority. We always focus on the spectacular parts of engineering, but what these sources suggest is that the technical skill is ultimately worthless without the administrative discipline to document it.
It's true. Without the records, there's no proof you met the standards. And from an administrative or contractual view, the project might as well not exist.
So the bureaucracy provides that validation layer.
That's it. It ensures every critical step is auditable and traceable. It secures the entire legal and operational integrity of the finished work. This is what shields the organization from future liability.
It's just a powerful reminder of how crucial these seemingly mundane documents are to the success of these massive, complex projects. The quiet administrative requirements hold all the leverage.
They absolutely do. And here's a final thought. If the ultimate strategic measure of project success is the evidence of compliances with record, how might the absence or poor quality of just one of these documents, like forgetting to properly sign off a MOIN for a key design change or losing one walkdown report, how could that jeopardize the entire project's legal standing? Even if the physical construction is mechanically perfect, the success really does hinge entirely on the paperwork. That's the reality we often overlook.